evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order on October 24th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided in the manner prescribed by law. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken.
Roll call.
Councilman Fisher is absent this evening. Councilman Gager?
Here.
Councilman Nadell? Here. Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Here.
Mayor Berger?
Present. Mr. Clark, is there any reason to go into executive this evening?
Yes, we have several topics to cover this evening, Mayor, including attorney-client, litigation, and contracts.
Okay, may I have a motion then to close the meeting and go into executive?
Motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like to reconvene the meeting? We'll start with a roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fisher is absent this evening. Councilman Gager?
Here.
Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Here.
And Mayor Berger was present in executive session this evening and had an emergency and had to leave the
Thank
meeting.
you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take a moment. As we all know, the world is in a tremendous amount of turmoil. Please pray for our country and our world. Thank you. This evening, we're honored to have Clerk Hanlon, Director Arnone, and Ted Maturo to do a small presentation on the America's 250th birthday that's going to be celebrated shortly. And they'd like to fill us in on what Howell Township can do and what's expected from the county. Please. Thanks so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I want to put my back to the
Here we go.
lens. We'll stand right about here. Good.
Okay.
Is that good? So thank you, everybody, for having us. Our county clerk, Christine Hanlon, and myself, Director Tom Arnone from Monmouth County, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and all of our constitutional officers, Sheriff Sean Golden and Maureen Raish, our surrogate. We want to thank you for allowing us to be here. So we have some special times coming up here, and everybody likes a birthday, and we have a really big one coming up here in 2026. And the county does not want this to slip by us. It's a very important time in our era, in our history, and in 1776, which I can remember that, and I know that there's people in the third, 1976, 1776, I don't remember. 1976, I do remember. And I will tell you, the people in the third row there, I know you do not remember this. That it was a big celebration, and I was fortunate enough to be in my town of Neptune City, and my father was on the bicentennial committee there, so I saw how it all worked. And now we have another celebration. Our county clerk has taken the lead, and I'm working alongside of her with making sure that Monmouth County doesn't forget. I'll turn it over to the county clerk.
Thank you, and thank you, Director Arnone. We are so excited to be working to plan Monmouth County's portion of the celebration to honor America's 250th birthday that's coming in 2026. It is called the semi-quincentennial. I like to say it because Director Arnone hasn't figured out.
So that's why you notice I start this, and then I say bicentennial, then I leave it up to her.
So about 10 years ago, I think the federal government started their preparations and planning for the 250th birthday of America. And then with COVID, everything kind of slowed down a little bit, and recently things have picked back up again. New Jersey has its apparatus rolling relating to the celebration, And as a county, it's important that we do our part to make this a tremendous celebration and work with our local municipalities to partner and encourage and join together to making it a wonderful experience for our residents here in Monmouth County. So the commissioners last year drafted a resolution establishing an official committee for the County of Monmouth to guide the celebrations for the county. And part of that was the hiring of our executive director, Ted Maturo, who's handling the day-to-day operations. We launched our website at monmouthnj250.org. We have our social media channels, also Monmouth NJ250. We developed a logo that you'll see, it's in the corner there. We developed a logo, tried to base it on the colors of our Monmouth County flag. You'll see that it has the red, the blue, the gold of the Monmouth County flag. And we developed a slogan, which is Freedom's Battleground. Because if you don't know this, we're happy to tell you in our video that we're going to show, hopefully, Monmouth County was a very important place with respect to the American Revolution, and there was a tremendous amount of fighting that went on here, perhaps more than any other county in New Jersey, and we had the famous Battle of Monmouth that took place here in Monmouth County. So our slogan for Monmouth County celebration is Freedom's Battleground.
And so what we have decided there also was that the way we were going to make this special, because Monmouth County obviously is so diverse, and through the western part of the county down to the shore part of the county there, and with every municipality being so much different, that to partner with the county and have celebrations in all 53 towns there. So in some way or another, whatever the best fit is for your municipality, plus we're going to have our events too, countywide, through park systems and doing different types of programs through acquisitions, but most importantly, having that special relationship with our 53 municipalities. So Christine and I have taken on the role, along with Ted. We didn't tell Ted when we hired him there, that this is going to be part of his role. We were going to do a little roadshow to our municipalities so that we get started, and we created a video to kind of give a lot of information, a little history of the county and how special it is.
The 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States of America is coming in 2026. America's semi-quincentennial will be celebrated all across our nation, our state, our county, and our communities.
In Monmouth County, we celebrate not only the birth of the greatest nation in the world, but the significant role our county has played in the fight for independence.
New Jersey is known as the crossroads of the American Revolution, and Monmouth County has a rich history integral to the fight for our nation's independence. The Battle of Monmouth was pivotal in the American Revolution. It was the biggest and longest one-day battle of the Revolutionary War, with General George Washington leading the Continental Army in the attack on the British. But Monmouth County's Revolutionary War story is much more than that.
It's the stories of families and loyalties divided and individuals from different backgrounds attempting to navigate uncertain times. It's the story of the strife and skirmish over many years of the revolution that pitted neighbors against neighbors, friends against friends. Those loyal to the crown organized and fought against freedom for the colonies more than in any other county in New Jersey.
At the time, Governor William Livingston called Monmouth a theater of spoil and destruction. Monmouth County was truly a battleground in the cause of freedom, and when the war had been won, the people of Monmouth County gradually transitioned over to the peaceful pursuits of agriculture, commerce, and industry.
In the almost 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Monmouth County has grown and flourished to be the ideal place to live, work, and play. Monmouth County has everything: the most expansive parks and open space, our breathtaking shoreline, our beautiful towns and bustling cities, fertile acres of cultivated farmland, innovative industry and business.
Our county has grown to be the 5th most populous in the state, with over 600,000 residents. I truly believe it's the best county in the state of New Jersey. And our people have made their mark on our national landscape. Accomplished entertainers, poets, and writers, innovative inventors, government leaders, renowned judges, famous athletes, war heroes, entrepreneurs, activists, and so many more. 2026 may seem like a long way off, but we are excited to embark on the journey toward this momentous event.
Join us as we look back on the people, places, and events that have carved Monmouth County's history over the past 250 years. And as we plan our celebrations of the birth of the greatest nation on earth, 250 is coming and Monmouth County will be ready. So that's pretty much what we're looking to expand on. And I know it's early, but it's not like your normal planning for a birthday party of one day. This is going to be a birthday party of 1 year. And we're going to start now by just like getting people informed of what's about to happen in 2026. And we really plan on having, and I'm hoping it's going to bring, not that our county isn't together now, because we are. We are together, unlike, as was heard tonight, in our country there. We try to keep our 53 municipalities, along with the county, together, bonded to help and work with each other. But I think this is going to be another way where we can be very creative to allow us to partner, not just with the county, but with your neighboring municipalities for different types of events. And we're excited. We're very excited, and we have some great ideas there, and I'm going to let Christine take it from there on some of the great ideas.
Yes, so some of the things that we are focused on are, number one, creating very memorable and exciting celebrations throughout the county. Also to honor and commemorate our amazing history over the past 250 years. It's so important that we showcase Monmouth County's history to our residents, but also to visitors and tourists and anyone who comes to Monmouth County. And also encourage all of our municipalities to get engaged and adopt a resolution, which I believe you adopted already, thank you, to support this event. So we talked a little bit about this. We talked about generating awareness, partnering with the municipalities, but very importantly, to collaborate with all of our historical groups, the arts community, our businesses, and all other organizations throughout the county and within your municipality. Everyone can be involved, our scouts, everyone can be involved in some way in this celebration. So in terms of the county planning, we're looking to do some big overarching events, but we recognize that we can't do everything, which is why we are encouraging our municipalities to take the initiative, form their own committees, appoint their liaisons, so that each municipality is conducting their own celebration and showcasing their own history. We are doing some big events like a gala, a parade, hopefully a marathon. We're trying to do all sorts of different events to commemorate the 250th anniversary, but we're also doing things to preserve our history. We plan to embark on an oral history project. We're doing videos. You saw one of them. We're working on educational programs as well.
So if I might, as the time goes by, how long of a celebration do you see? Are we talking 3 days, 5 days?
So really, I think that people, like nationally, it's going to start really a year before, I think.
Mhm.
I think most people will get the most interested as we approach the month of July in 2026. But things are happening already. Different entities are starting to begin their programming, whether it's educational programming, whether it's preserving some kind of history. In terms of the one-time celebrations, we think that most of those that the county is going to do will be around the summertime. But we are planning to have different events leading up to the 4th of July 2026. We may do one that's a year before, just to kind of kick things off. But our municipalities really can do whatever they want to do. We want to promote your events and vice versa. We have our website, so we'd like to, whatever you're doing, we'd like to promote it for you on our social and on our website and events calendars and our tourism brochures. We want to have that communication so that we're all helping each other and making the celebration even better.
And public information, the county's public information will work along with Ted there to make sure that, as Christine just said, assist them to get the message out for you, to help assist get the message out for you there. So that's our ultimate goal through this whole process, because, you know, as successful as the towns are, the county is in a whole there.
So we're going to do a 50-year flashback, almost 50 years, and go back to 1976 for just a few moments, which was the year of the bicentennial. Every single town in Monmouth County planned events and activities to celebrate the bicentennial. In Howell, in 1976, I think there was more than this, but these are just a few examples. Howell Township cleaned up and restored Abner Thorpe's tombstone, who happened to have been a friend of George Washington. Does anyone know where that is right now? I don't, but maybe we can find it for 2026. We may have to clean it up again. Howell Township planted a liberty tree and established a bicentennial park in front of, I guess, the old town hall. And also a bicentennial Howell Day square dance, which I hope you do again because I'm very interested in going to that because I like square dances. So those are just a few of the things that Howell did. So many people, municipalities, local elected officials have said to us, like, well, what can we do? So just a few ideas. We are happy, whatever you decide to do, we want to support. But one of the things to do for America's birthday, if you can, is preserve land as a birthday present. You can conduct your own oral history program. You can mark historic properties throughout the township. They don't have to be, 250 years old, but if they're historic in some way. You can host a community cleanup program to clean up America for America's birthday, which is one of my favorites. Plan celebration events or apply a 250 birthday theme to existing events that you have already. These are just a few things, but there's going to be so many different things happening. Whatever you decide to do, we're happy to support.
Well, I can tell you that so far, the township officials, we've been talking about what we can do, and we look forward to the celebration. The Heritage Historical Society is forming a committee. We're not sure what the plan's going to be, but we know we're doing something. And marking preserved properties is a wonderful opportunity, not just for the birthday, but to make sure that everybody that's in Howell understands that there are important places in Monmouth County that need to be recognized. So it's good to know that we can start basically, I guess, whenever we have something cooking, just start. Let you know, you'll promote.
Yeah. We've started, we would love it. I'm so glad or they're working on a committee. We're going to be asking each of the towns in Monmouth County to appoint a liaison so that we have this, communicate with Ted, we're doing this, just so that we're not, we were just communicating about things. And
Right.
one of the most important things is to encourage the stakeholders in town to get involved as well. Local organizations, businesses, use this as a way to boost the economy in Howell, bring people into town. So there's so many different things. But if you'd like to follow us on social media, please share our content and keep us up to date with whatever your planning is.
Along with businesses, scout troops, I would assume, would be an interested party.
Part of it.
The Scouts, any veterans organizations, I would say even your faith-based organizations. 50 years ago, there were so many different types of events and organizations that got involved. Whether you have
Sounds like we should start
different
soon.
clubs. Well, we
We-
have
yeah.
started, so
Yeah,
we
we have
hope
started.
that you will too, because it takes a long time to plan certain things. It just, the months go by, and it's good to start early, and I can't believe how fast things have gone already since we had our first meeting.
Well, it was
months ago,
summertime when
and
we met.
We were like trying
Yeah.
to figure out what our logo was going to look like. It's been, it's
And
just
what
gone
we've
so
done on
fast
the
already.
county side is, when Christine and I, first met, just the two of us, met on this and putting a plan together, what we did is we put a committee together. And that was the first thing that we did. And how we did that is we took all different parts of the county, our county, Monmouth County, boards and administration, put them together so that we're touching all the different areas of the county, so that everybody's a part of it. Out of our 3,000 employees will be informed, because there's somebody from every department in some way or another that's touched there. And, with Ted giving the information that we're dispersing at the board there, I think that's going to, move things even more together in a period of time. And it is, and I think it's so important that new things are going to come up at every one of our meetings that we're going to bring up, that, we could say, well, maybe we can do something like this for people to remember what the year is about. So you're our second visit of municipalities. We picked, and how did we pick those? We went to our two largest. So we went to Middletown last week, and we're here tonight, and tomorrow night we're in Wall there. So, and then we'll move into bringing some of our smaller municipalities together, or Christine and I will never be home. So we're gonna try to bring
Many
those
places.
together.
Well, you're right, it seemed not long ago, Councilman Gazer and I went to the Hall of Records, and it was basically the kickoff that day.
That's right,
And
that's right.
Thank you for
so,
joining us.
and even with the horses coming up, you started off with the whole idea of history was paramount, but that just seemed like just a few days ago, and we're already looking probably at the end of October here, so you're right, time does march on. So I would even encourage people that are watching the meeting on TV, or people in the audience, talk to the groups that you're involved in. Think about what you'd like to do. You don't need the township necessarily to organize you, but, you contact the county, and they will promote what you're doing as well. And it does take a long time, for sure, to get things organized and going, but, even a small group of people, if you have an idea, do it. This
I have to
birthday
say,
is
like you
important.
said, I think back 50 years ago, and my family, we had our own parade, our own bicentennial parade. My grandmother made us all costumes, the entire family.
Oh, my
All
gosh.
the cousins. We didn't need anybody else. We did it ourselves, and we marched around the neighborhood, and we did our whole thing.
There's
So
your first
it's exactly
idea.
what you said.
Yeah.
Everybody can do a piece of this.
Right.
And the more people get involved, the better it all is. So.
Well, we'll make
thank you.
sure that the theme is on our website, the information is there, so that they can follow what the county's doing and the information that you provide to the residents. And we're particularly proud to be the second organization that you came to. We're very happy to be a part of this, and by virtue of the fact that we live in Monmouth County, we're all part of this. So if you think about being a part of it, you're a part of the family of Monmouth, so hopefully everybody will have some ideas that will embellish, and we're proud to be in a county that takes things like this so seriously that you're planning 3 years in advance. So from the council, we say thank you. And does anyone have any questions they'd like to bring up?
I know we've already had some discussion about it, which included fireworks.
Awesome. Love it. I love it.
That's the way it should be. We actually, funny thing, we decided to have a truck that goes on the road. So we outfitted
Beautiful.
this big truck with all of our information, and Ted's was in a parade recently. Ted's been taking it out to festivals and fairs, and we're able to show videos on it, and soon we'll have like a little traveling exhibit
You're very
in there.
fortunate.
So it's going to be going around the county where people,
And you're
start
very
getting
fortunate,
information.
your own homegrown sheriff designed it there, so, and did a heck of a job.
We're proud to take, we're proud to say that Sheriff Golden is one of ours, so.
Absolutely.
Is there printed information that you can share with us tonight?
Oh, yeah, we have
Okay, oh, good.
little cards
Excellent, thank you.
to give out, and we thank you so much for giving us, probably longer than you wanted to hear.
Yes.
Not at all, thank you.
so
Thank you very much.
for,
Thanks, have a good evening.
Everybody for
Thank you.
listening.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like we're in for some exciting times in the very near future.
Ted. Flash drive. Flash drive.
You're going to need that for your next meeting tomorrow night. Again, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the proclamation for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October 2023. Whereas breast cancer touches the lives of Americans from every background and in every community across our nation, and whereas in 2023, an estimated 297,790 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in women in the U.S., and about 2,800 new cases are expected to be diagnosed in men. And whereas during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we honor those we have lost, lend our strength to those who carry on the fight, and pledge to educate ourselves and our loved ones about this tragic disease. And whereas, through the exact causes of breast cancer are unknown, understanding its risks factors is essential to prevention. Early detection is also the key in the fight against breast cancer. And whereas during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we stand with the mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, and friends who have been affected by breast cancer and recognize the ongoing efforts of dedicated advocates, researchers, and healthcare providers who strive each day to defeat this terrible disease. And whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about prevention and treatment of this potentially life-altering disease. Now, therefore, on behalf of Mayor Teresa Berger and the governing body, we here to proclaim the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Howell and urge our citizens to work together to increase awareness and support education and research.
Thank you. Needless to say, not just with breast cancer, but any cancer, early detection is the best opportunity that one of your loved ones will be here for many years to come. So monitor those people that you love and be sure that they do all of their screenings. Okay, next we have a acceptance of the minutes of September 26, 2023. May I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept minutes from September 26, 2023.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilman Gager?
Here.
Councilman
Excuse me,
Nadel?
Yes.
Yes.
And Deputy Mayor O'Donnell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, minutes of October 6, 2023. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to accept minutes.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like reports from the township officials, starting with Manager Clark.
Sure. So very quickly, just a reminder that we have Trunk or Treat coming up this Thursday. So I encourage everybody to attend. There's going to be a lot of events this year. This will be one of them. And of course, we have a lot planned for the day. So I think everybody will enjoy it. That's going to be at Soldier Memorial. Coming up soon, and we'll be releasing more information over the course of the next month. We're making improvements to the recycling center so that we can start accepting bulk drop-off. That'll be at the beginning of the year when that starts, and we'll have more information shortly. By way of a railroad update, the railroad company will be replacing track crossings at Maxim Road, Old Tavern Road, and Victory Road. And it's going to be similar to what happened over the spring and summer of this past year. The tentative schedule is Maxim Road, November 1st through 3rd, Old Tavern Road, November 8th through 10th, and Victory Road, November 14th through 16th. Track work requires 24-hour closures for several days. Detours will be coordinated with emergency services and school districts. And finally, we have our yearly energy assistance program coming up in conjunction with New Jersey Natural Gas. That's going to be on this Thursday, October 26th, here in this room at the Municipal Building from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So New Jersey Natural Gas representatives and state-designated agencies will be on hand to answer questions and offer personal assistance with the application process for energy assistance for those who might need it this coming winter. So that is my update.
Thank you. Mr. Howard?
Obviously, the election is coming up. Some people probably have the write-in mail-in ballots already, and the early voting is taking place. On there for Howell Township is a referendum for a 1-cent increase in the open space tax. Just be aware of that. Read the question carefully. Vote as you see fit. If that gets approved, that puts in a significant amount of money into our open space fund that we could use for special events, property acquisition, a lot of different things, improvements to our parks, maintenance of our parks. That's obviously what we want to do with it. So if that passes, we'll have a lot more opportunities. Last week, the planning board has adopted an update, reexamination to the master plan and the land use element. In there are several ordinances or recommendations that could be brought to the governing body for ordinances. We're introducing a bevy of them tonight, several. So we're just introducing tonight. The public hearing will be at the next meeting in November, and we will have a public hearing at that point. What we're looking for is some new opportunities on the Route 9 corridor. We're looking to better define some of our uses, and we're always looking at the zoning. We have done a lot of ordinances back in May of 2022. A lot of them are working exactly as planned, and this is just an opportunity to revisit the master plan, and these types of ordinances should always be coming up because everything changes quickly. Master plan is a living and breathing document. It's got to change with the times, has to try and predict market rates and different things like that. So that's what the planning board's has been working on and trying to get ahead of it. It'll be up to you guys to decide, council, as far as ordinances. What is not on for introduction tonight, but will be in November, we're narrowing in on, it's going to take 4 or 5 ordinances to do, but the farm events. We have ordinances drafted for making certain size events conditional uses, which will still involve planning board, potentially zoning board approval, but it's a much clearer path than now. Some of those conditions are lot size, having Q farm assessment, various things. Those obviously be made public for introduction, but we're also looking at on very small scale events, still having a set of conditions where properties have to be eligible, but they'll be able to apply for a permit through my office and be able to have events for 25 or 30 people or less. We think that might be a sweet spot to help some of our farmers out, to allow them to kind of expand their business and hopefully keep farming in Howell. So stay tuned for those ordinances in November. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
No
Aristine?
legal updates.
I'm sorry?
No legal updates.
Okay, thank you. Anything from our clerk?
I just want to say that early voting begins on October 28th and runs through November 5th, right here at Adelphia Firehouse on Route 33.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I'd like to begin the hearing of the citizens. Madam Clerk, would you go through the information?
Sure. Each person shall give their name and address to the clerk. The council should be addressed as a collective body and not as individual members. Each person shall have 1 turn to address the council, and comments should not exceed a total of 5 minutes. Speakers shall be notified when their time has run, and no time extensions shall be permitted.
Thank you. First name on our list is Paul, is that Rogerian? Please come up. State your name and address, please, for the record.
Paul. Ray Berger, 147 Arnold Boulevard. I'm sure you remember, I've probably been coming in here for quite a while now. Got a problem on the road with speeding, truck traffic. I finally wound up having a meeting with Joe Clark over here, and the meeting was ridiculous. I thought they were going to help me out, and basically just tried to bury me. Didn't do anything at all to help me out. But anyway, during the meeting, Mr. Clark stated that there was only 4 trucks a day traveling down the road, which is completely ridiculous. So what I did was, I opened a request. Mr. Clark had a piece of paper in his hand at the meeting with all the information on it, kind of like a summary, which was, like I said, was the complete fabrication. And I also opened a request. Mrs. Berger said she was going to give me a cell phone number because I wanted to send, I made a video. I actually put a camera out in front of my house, and I recorded the trucks. In the course of 8 hours, I had 39 heavy trucks coming down the road, tandem dump trucks, tanker trucks, and tractor trailers coming down the road. And I didn't even count straight body trucks. It would have easily been 50. So there's a pretty big inconsistency here. Then I got Clark trying to tell me that there's not a speeding problem on the road, which is absolutely ridiculous. Speed limit's 35 miles an hour, and everybody's probably doing about 50. So what I'm going to do next is, to prove these people wrong, I'm going to buy a radar gun, and I'm going to shoot radar on that road. I'm going to probably stand in front of my camera so you can see the radar gun, so you don't think I'm fabricating a report like these people do. But I need to get all this information to you. I want to text it over on a cell phone. But I never got it. I put it on about a month and a half ago. I never got a copy of the report from Clark with what I believe is the bogus information he had at the meeting. I never got it, and I never got the cell phone numbers.
Okay, I'm happy to give you my cell phone. I'll share that video with administration and my co-counsel people.
And my other thing, too, I was wondering, once I get the radar gun, if I could maybe meet one of the council members, have it out there in front of my house, we'll run radar together, so you can get an idea what's really going on out there. I'm telling you, it's totally out of control. Saturday, I was working out in front of my house. The cars, one right after another, coming down the road, 50, 60 miles an hour. Finally, I had to call the police, which a real nice police officer came out. I wish I could remember his name because he's a really good guy. I had a video. We put it back to my phone. I showed him the video. He looked at it. He couldn't believe it. He said the car was doing about 75 to 80 miles an hour, going through a residential neighborhood. I came in here about a year and a half ago. I had one of my neighbor's grandson was walking off the school bus. Car's going so fast, never stopped. If the kid was a half a step ahead, he would have been a freaking pile of chop meat on the middle of Arnold Boulevard.
1 minute
Excuse my
remaining.
French. And this is what's going on out there. And then I got Clark over here telling me that nobody got killed yet on the road. That's not true. The Howell Township Police Department, ever since they put the road at illegally put it at 50 miles an hour, even though state law statute calls for 35, it's been nothing but a problem. So what do they turn around and do? It was a no passing zone. They put it into a passing zone. I called them up and said, you know, you're going to get somebody, they could care less. And sure enough, head-on collision. 2 little kids are laying on the side of the road, crying, and as far as I understand, one of them didn't make it. Matter of fact, I had to come in here. You might even remember, Ms. O'Donnell.
Excuse me, your time has ended. Thank
And
you.
Mayor Berger.
Thank you.
I had to beg you people to put it back into a no passing zone.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
didn't.
Ryberger, thank you.
Thank you. I will share my cell with you.
One other thing, I'm putting myself at great risk speaking out against these people. Because I already had a police officer follow my car,
Sir,
tailgate.
your time has ended.
Thank you.
I'll tell you next meeting.
Thank you.
Fucking ridiculous. What's that?
Next is Catherine, is it Knowles? Please come forward. Your name and address, just for the record, please.
Catherine Mills, 9
Mills.
Emery Street.
My apologies.
Just came this evening to shed some light on what's going on in my development over in Briarcrest. There's good news. When a house goes on the market, it sells same day, next day. Sometimes full price, sometimes 10,000 more overpriced. All good news. I talked to some of the people who are selling their house. They say, oh, the buyers are a young couple. They're looking forward to coming and moving into the house. The process is as follows. They never move into the house. It sits empty for 3 to 4 weeks. Then we notice people are living in there. Looks like a lot of construction workers, landscapers. And then some of them get the rental certificate of occupancy, some do not. Okay, then we watch the properties deteriorate. For example, I'm just going to use one of this, there's many of them, but I'm going to use one situation up the street from me. Exactly what I'm telling you. Then this summer, we're all talking, we're all walkers, we see the grass, a few feet high. The town, I talked to Mr. Howard, they get after them. Somebody comes and cuts the grass. For 3 weeks, there was a mattress thrown on the front property. And of course, it's been a lot of rain, so it's been raining on the property. I don't know that the people living in the house understand you have to make a bulk pickup appointment, and that mattresses have to be wrapped in plastic. Obviously, they didn't know that, it just sat there. People walking by, everybody discussing it, everybody very unhappy. Then I was taking a walk the other day. They have a dead tree in their backyard. It's hanging over their fence. In addition to that, I did call the town because they have dead arborvitaes. These bushes are, at least 2 of them, laying across the sidewalk. And they're overgrown and they block the sidewalk. This is just one example of how these houses, the exterior of these houses are deteriorating. My husband's an attorney, he's a real estate attorney, and we went on the website, the county clerk, and of course all the mortgage papers are there. It says that the buyer is going to be their primary residence. It says they must occupy this property within 60 days. They never occupy the property. They turn around again and put people in, sometimes with the proper paperwork, sometimes not. Then, in addition to that, when you do that, you're then really purchasing rental property. So if you take a mortgage for your primary property and you're actually using it as rental property and never take occupancy, you're committing a federal crime called mortgage fraud, also mortgage occupancy fraud. In addition to that, when I called one of the mortgage companies, I used to be a realtor, I'm not doing it now, but I called one of the mortgage companies, they said they already had sold the loan. So they sell this loan to another company, and the company thinks they're getting a property where the people who have the loan are actually occupying the home. They're not. These people, so it's actually, they're selling actually a rental investment property loan, and these loan companies think they're getting the actual people in there. They're
1
not.
minute remaining.
And And in addition, the insurance, because if you have insurance and you're supposed to be living there and something happens to the home and you're not, then you have to let the insurance company know. I've noticed time and time and time again that this is happening in Briarcrest. The residents were all aware of it. I'm standing talking here tonight. Many people know about this. We're all very concerned. One brought up the idea that these buyers might be a straw man because some people pay overpriced. I talked to the sellers. They've never been to the property, never been to the town, and never been into the house. There's something very nefarious going on, and it's happening time and time again. And I just want you to be aware of it and how they're operating and how this is happening. And the effect of the residents.
Your time has ended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Joseph, I don't want to,
Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Hi, Joe Gonsalves, 24 Sugarbush Road in Candlewood. My concern is there's a lot of there's ATV traffic behind the whole of Sugarbush Road, which is a wooded area, and on the other side of that is the Oak Glen neighborhood. So that wooded area is what separates Oak Glen from Candlewood. And it's a wetland area, but there's been ATV traffic on my block for the past couple of years. It was on the street, that pretty much subsided, and now, for the past year, it's in the woods, and they're making trails, and it's just loud, it's unnecessary. My question is it legal? Are they allowed to ride ATVs in that wooded area? And that's my concern. I've called the police a few times, and the police officer, again, giving me the information that he had, said that if it's private land and they have permission from the owner, that's fine. If it's public land, and I don't believe it's private land, I believe it is either the township's property or it's the water company's property, because it is I believe it was part of the Manasquan watershed area, but it is a big wooded area. I've been on Sugarbush Road for 31 years, and it was just a nice, quiet backyard piece of property to have, and just now it's just ATVs, and some of the people that are riding the ATVs don't even live on the area. There is one individual that lives on Sugarbush Road, but there are others that come to that area to ride the ATVs. I took a walk back there a couple of times, and there's trails, and it's just unnecessary. I don't believe it's legal. I don't think they have a right to be back there. And in the 31 years I've been here, that hadn't been the case. So that's my concern is, and I know I spoke to the officers a few times. I had called them, and they weren't sure about the ownership of the property, and that's why I'm here speaking my piece here. And I know that I had tried to speak to a few of the young individuals that were riding back there, and that's not going to work. I was young myself, so it's
I understand.
my recommendation, and I've been online and I've been seeing how difficult it is to own an ATV in Jersey and to ride around or on land other than private land, but it's just annoying. It's annoying, and there's deer that are back there. There's just green land back there, and it's just getting torn up a little bit. And
I just want to know if it's legal and if they have permission. And if not, my recommendation is to put a sign up on both ends of Sugar Bush Road that have access to that wooded area to say no ATV, no motorbikes, or no access with that vehicle. You want to walk back there, that's fine. But there's been no hunting back there forever because it's illegal. And now we got the ATVs, and that's my concern. And I would just like to know where we go from here.
I understand. All right, thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak publicly?
Good evening. Betty Velez Gimbel, 97 Victory Road. I do know that the public hearing for the ordinances isn't tonight, but I wanted to just make some comments prior to introducing. I noticed that the list of proposed ordinances doesn't include the stormwater recommendation by the planning board. I do know that the members seem to be concerned about this when discussing the Victory Road application. I realize the timeline to be in accordance with the BMP is July 1st, but I'm just wondering why we're not moving quicker on this. It's really extremely important for Block 41, Lot 17. I would also like to address the ordinance 02338. This proposed ordinance is not aligned with the vision of the master plan. The SED 1 zone still allows for conditional use warehouse and flex space. When I spoke in front of the planning board, the vision was ARE 6 since the majority of Victory Road is ARE 6. If I am correct, it also does not align with this council. Sincere campaign promises were made that influenced my vote. This is unreasonable development. It doesn't fit the landscape of Victory Road. It threatens the rural character of Howell, and it's not safe. This rezoning seems to benefit the developer, Active Acquisitions and Stavola. This does not benefit the residents. It allows for flex space, an opportunity to build a huge building and divide it to have multiple tenants on a proven environmentally sensitive parcel. The building height for these flex spaces, buildings, has not been determined by the planning board. I was told it would be up to the council to decide. The planning board recommended a height not to exceed 32 feet. There are no details as to where the measurements will be taken. This is concerning because we see the Victory Road application contains 8 feet of fill and then a warehouse height of 45 feet, equaling 53 feet above the road. And then there are the outdoor operating hours of 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Would it be possible to align those with the current noise ordinance of 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.? Again, this proposed ordinance is not aligned with the vision of the master plan. The majority of Victory Road is ARE 6. It does not benefit the residents. It favors the developer. Why did the township reject the recommendation of the planning board? Please amend this ordinance 02338 and rezone it to ARE 6. I wanted to just point out that the Steel business is not a factory. That can operate under SED 2 zone. This would also prevent a possible future for a warehouse there as well. Again, the auto body shop that was mentioned in a previous council meeting is ARE 6. All of the other 2 businesses that were mentioned in another council meeting, they're also ARE. They're not SED, they're not industrial. This doesn't fit. And I know it doesn't fit your vision. Please amend this. Stop this. It's an environmentally sensitive area. The road is beautiful. It's perfect.
1 minute
Rural
remaining.
Howell. I hope that you've been down the road and can see how many farms and what a benefit this is to the community. Amend this, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak tonight? If so, please come up. Hi, name and address, if you would, please.
Certainly, Deputy Mayor O'Donnell. My name's Lawrence White, 15 Renway. Good evening, council members and town professionals. I just want to start out by commending the planning board and the council for the ordinances that are before us this evening and the ones to come. I'm really appreciative that the township government has lived up to their campaign promises and their promises to the citizens of our township to change some of the zoning, to maintain the rural character of Howell and the property values and quality of life for our citizens. I really appreciate it. I did want to suggest something on the macro level, however, for all the changes that are taking place right now. And I'm referring to the State Planning Commission's Distribution, Warehouse, and Goods Movement Guidelines, policy adopted September 7, 2022. And on page 16, in the other planning and zoning tools, they talk about cost-benefit analysis. And by that, they mean the impact of any proposed development, not just within the property lines, but within the surrounding area. Now, in North Howell, we have a situation where we're going to have like a 1.2 million square feet of warehouse in a really small geographical area, because the planning board has their hands tied with land use laws to just talk about that property itself. But if you, in the application process, if you ask people, the applicants, to do a cost-benefit analysis, and maybe even the township should do so as well for these large projects, then you could get a lot more data about the impact overall on the neighborhood and the citizenry and the property values and the school buses that are, running on these roads, and environmental impacts, sewer, electricity, water, all of that. So I'm going to submit this to the township for consideration, and my recommendation is that you put this cost-benefit analysis requirement in on development applications.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, to the rest of my remarks for this evening. Everybody knows that citizens of Victory Road are dipping into their own pockets to fight the application before the planning board right now. This council has an opportunity tonight with a simple amendment to solve that issue and save the citizens of Victory Road from a large warehouse, truck traffic, pollution, dropping of property values, public safety of the citizens there. I mean, you got an alpaca farm, a horse farm on that road. It just doesn't fit. So I would respectfully ask the council tonight to amend Ordinance 23-38 on page 2 for Block 41, Lot 17,
1 minute remaining.
change that zoning to ARE6. The citizens of Victory Road are here tonight. Please give them relief. Now, if I may, my remarks are concluded, but I have a fellow citizen who was unable to attend tonight that would like to make some remarks are in reference to the ordinance introduction.
Excuse me, is it Wayne Senator?
Yes.
I'm prepared to read that.
Oh, thank you.
All right, your time has ended. I'm
Terrific.
sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to come up and address council? Hello.
Hi, Diane Lindstrom, 39 Victory Road. I'm sorry. Betty and Larry have both really upset me to the point where I really want to start crying.
Take your
The
time.
financial burden, property values, our quality of life, peacefulness of Victory Road, all for one stupid, ridiculous zoning problem. That zoning problem is affecting so many people on this road. We're tired. We're tired of fighting something that we shouldn't have to fight. I was sent a video back in September, I'm pretty sure it was of a council meeting. Every one of you affirmed the fact that you're here to help us for our safety, for our well-being, for our happiness. And I don't know ordinances, and I don't know laws, and I don't know any of that. But I know living on Victory Road 30 years has made me an expert, more of an expert than anybody else that you talk to. When you live it, and you see it, and you feel it, and it's in your hand every day, you don't want to give that up. And we don't want to. But we're at a point where we need you guys. We need your help. We need you to understand what this road is like. We need you to understand what it's doing to us as residents. I did listen before. Again, my mind was on this, talking about raising some tax, a penny, which will help towards purchasing open area, preserving farmland. Why in the hell can't you do that here? You've got 460 acres called Big Woods right on Squonkam Road, 547. You have another one, the Bramble Track. You have one on Locust. Victory Road is more of a perfect place for something like this than a warehouse. A warehouse that the only benefit of that warehouse will go to the owners of the warehouse. It will do nothing for us, nothing at all. It's going to destroy the way we live. It's going to destroy the road we have. And if you've never been on Victory, you need to take a ride down there one day, and you need to see what it's like. The DeSanti plant that they're talking about has been there easily 60 years, since I'm in high school. They're all zoned ARE, ARE6. What is with this one piece of property that you guys can't understand how it's... tired of losing sleep over it. I really am. And I hear in my head every one of you saying that your goal is for the happiness and the safety of the people of Howell Township. Children waiting to get on the school bus are not going to be safe if there's tractor trailers going up and down that road. Point in case, the Active Acquisitions has been saying there's not going to be any traffic going up towards my end of Victory, which is up towards Maxim Southern, if you know the area. The other morning, I happened to look out, 7 o'clock in the morning, there was a massive tractor trailer in front of my house heading towards the area in question. Now, the only way he could have gotten there was to come in off of Maxim Southern, which means trucks will take the shortest route. They will come down that way. They will go up that way. You have children on that road. You know there's children on that road, right? There's little children on that road that have to stand outside and wait for a school bus. There's a house right on the S-curve that Active Acquisitions wants to straighten. You want to kill the character of the road. There's mailboxes, there's mail trucks, it's just the wrong place for a 200,000 square foot warehouse that is going to benefit no one. No one. at all. So I'm asking you guys to look back to that meeting, maybe it was September 12th. Every one of you stood there and you said, I'm here for the happiness, the safety, and the well-being of the residents of Howell. Here's your chance to prove it. Here's your chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that wishes to speak? At this time, seeing none, Diane, would you please
There's
read
one gentleman
the
waiting.
correspondence you have?
We have someone coming
Oh,
up.
I'm sorry. Hello.
You guys miss me?
Your name and address, please?
Oh, John Leggio, 9 Livingston Drive. Hello, council, how we doing tonight? Mr.
Good.
Clark, I want to say thank you for a bunch of the stuff that's going on in town as far as the roadways and, a lot of progress being made. Okay, I got just a couple things. The next is big with Mr. Howard. We need to really, really get on top of this rental situation. Okay? Maybe I'll come to the office with you. I'll pay for the gas. I'll drive you around. All right, I don't do anything anymore because I'm disabled with my back surgery, so I got a lot of time. But I'll drive you around. And there's tons and tons of properties that have massive violations going on. Whether they're running daycare centers out of them now, illegal apartments out of their basements, 15 cars. Okay, I'll take you around Kent Road, Ford Road, Candlewood, Rantown, whatever part of town you want to go to. There's massive violations. And I know you guys are trying to do your job. I'm not saying you're not. But my question is there some kind of letter that could be sent to a homeowner or whoever the owner of the property is, that after you send 1 letter, 2 letters, 3 letters, and ignore everything, because that's obviously what goes on some of these cases, is there some kind of legal thing the town could do, like put a mechanical lien on the property until the violation is undone? Because I had a landscape business for 26 years in town, and if I didn't get paid, I put a mechanical lien on your house. 2 months. My lawyer sent a letter, and I got paid within 30 days. I'm just saying, I don't know what our course of action is, but there's multiple houses in the town now that are being taken advantage of commercially, like they're not the residential pieces, but they're running business out of them. Okay, I'm not standing here saying that you don't know, and you guys don't know. I know you guys know, but we need to get a hold of this, because what's going on with the owners that don't even live there, obviously, some of them, they're just, instead of asking permission, they're asking for forgiveness, right? They just play stupid. Well, let them do whatever they want. If nobody complains, then we're going to get away with it. My wife teaches in this town, okay? And I can tell you for a fact, she comes home, she tells me, some of these houses, the kids register to go to school there, 10 kids out of the same house with 10 different last names. That's interesting, right? So, there's just a lot going on, okay? I'm not here to comment about any of this ordinance stuff being on the planning board, okay? And the only thing I suggest the council do, maybe, if they could, if you want to listen to the citizens, is, as a group, maybe get together, get into a van or something, and come out of your houses where you guys live. Evelyn, you're in North Howell, Councilman Gazer, you're where you're at, okay? And go drive these roads in the morning. Spend some time in Howell South in the morning on the Route 9 side, the Lanes Mill side, the 547 side. Work your way up, and then in the afternoon, from about 1:30 in the afternoon, moving forward, it's just complete chaos after the buses start running and all the truck traffic, whether it's box trucks, trailers coming from every direction. It is what it is, okay? Just do your due diligence, please, as council members, okay? As far as making promises, some of them, I guess, could be maybe made or not made, but the taxpayers should come first. And if you don't want to put the taxpayers first, then it's just a lost cause. And you got people's emotions and people just, not happy.
1 minute remaining.
And it's, I don't think it's fair to them, and it's not fair for the taxpayers, especially the ones that actually pay their taxes and pay their mortgages and want to keep a nice piece of property, and, but next door there's 6 feet of grass and mattresses and abandoned cars and all the other bullshit that goes on.
Thank you, Mr. Leggio.
All right? Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Hello.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Good, thank you.
My name is Tracy Garrigan. I live at 220 Victory Road. Pardon me because I have a lot of laryngitis due to allergies. Hearing everybody here speak about what Victory Road is like, I agree with what the gentleman said. Take a drive and go see what this beautiful little nestled neighborhood is like, because it's very unique. I've lived all along the coast. I've lived up in Morganville, lovely area. This is the most tranquil, beautiful area I've ever lived. And funny thing is, my husband and I traveled out to California by car and back. And the thing that we said was that we loved where we live most of all. We saw a lot of places. This is a place where you go out and you see your neighbors riding horses on this road, people walking their dogs, people running. This is a neighborhood that is residents, farms with animals. There is no place for this business. And what perplexes me is I can go up and down Route 9 and see 1 million abandoned commercial properties. Why are we taking this property and turning it into something it shouldn't be? It should be left open space. I spend every day, morning, afternoon, and night, in my backyard looking at the property that makes me happy. I wake up with the birds and I go to sleep with the birds. This is the most beautiful area, and I do implore you guys to actually hoof it over there by car. Take a look at what kind of disturbance this property, this business would cause to us residents, because it is residents. A business like this with tractor trailers, dump trucks, this, that, and the other, this is gonna change the road right in front of where I live. I live just outside the S-turn. You're gonna take that, change it, and then there's just gonna be marching traffic, commercial traffic. This is not a commercial area. Find another property, Route 9, with all the abandoned properties, and let them have that. That's my say. Please consider rezoning this, as everybody has asked. And if it was your area, you would realize the gorgeous, beautiful sense of community that this place offers. There is no place for this warehouse. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Again, is there anyone else that would like to come up and speak?
Motion to close public.
Excuse me, I'm
We
going to
have
read
a
a
letter.
statement.
Yeah.
It's okay. This is from Wayne Senator, Thoroughbred Drive. I truly appreciate the Town Planning Board efforts recently undertaking in creating the Master Plan Reexamination Report and ordinances that will be introduced tonight. I would like the Town Council to consider the following suggestions to the reexamination report's recommendations and any associated proposed ordinances. Flex space accommodates multiple tenants having various different product and services. Better refined types of businesses and services need to be specified to eliminate potentially hazardous conditions. Flex space should not be a permitted use when a high amount of human traffic business such as retail and educational services are also permitted in that same zone. Resident safety and quality of life should be a priority. Flex space hours of operation should be consistent with the town's noise ordinance, saves on enforcement efforts. Flex space includes many different tenants. Some may require a loading bay and some may not. Increase the ratio of loading bays to 1 per 10,000 square feet. The township should consider revising the Woodlands Management Ordinance to require tree replacement must be accomplished on any site as defined by the Planning Board before a contribution is made to the tree fund. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, is there any comment from the public at this time? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion to close public.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. At this time, I'd like administration to take various questions and answer them for the public.
So just very quickly, I'll address Mr. Rayberger's comments since this is the multiple time he's been up here about the same thing. So we sat down and we had a meeting with him. It was myself, Mr. Howard, our traffic division from the police department, and we parsed out what he was saying. And I will tell you this. He's free to call me whatever he wants. He is free to characterize my words as lies, but I resent the fact that he is saying that about our police because they have done their job on that road multiple times. They have been there, they have done traffic counts, they have taken speed readings, and every time it supports the designation of the road as is and the speed that exists. So we are not going to be doing anything to change it. I know that he's upset about that, but right now there is no fact-based evidence that allows us to take any action with regard to that particular stretch of road.
With regard to Mr. Rayberger, has the clerk received any emails like he was instructed at the last meeting to send his videos to?
He did Oprah, the documents were given, and my email address was given to him for the photos and...
Did he send any emails in?
No, he did not.
Okay, thank you.
And just to add on to that, when we had met with Mr. Rayberger, we went through the laws, the state laws for the traffic on how to make these changes and having studies support your findings and the changes you're making. And we showed him on the screen exactly what the law said. And the response was, it shouldn't be that hard, just do it. This administration doesn't work that way. It's going to be supported in law. We're going to do it the right way. So the changes he's requesting is just, it's not supported at the time.
And that would be unsupported by the police department. He made reference to an officer basically agreeing with him.
Well, I mean, and that's one thing in a conversation when there is speeding. I mean, there's speeding on a lot of roads in town. Nobody's going to deny that. But he's categorizing their studies as false and purposely misleading information. That's not true. I would never say that about our police department. They put their signatures. They did a detailed study. They've done multiple detailed studies. There's no road that's been studied more in Howell than Arnold Boulevard because of these requests. And I do resent any implication that the police department is filing false reports. That's just not right.
Okay,
So there was a bunch of others. So
Yes.
in dealing with the Briarcrest, Miss Mills, I think she left. I don't see her anymore. I'm in contact with Miss Mills regularly. She went into a lot of information about mortgage fraud. I've explained that she very well may be correct. It's just not in the purview of the township at any level, code enforcement or above. And she can, kind of take those on her avenues. But in terms of property maintenance violations, she has my direct line. We talk almost weekly. Every single complaint that she brings to me gets filed with code enforcement. I think we've been able to resolve a lot of her issues in due time with code enforcement. I think what you were hearing was some frustration as to just having those issues come up and having to go through the process. We agree. Code enforcement, part of their job is to canvass neighborhoods and to look for issues before there are complaints. We can't catch everything, especially nowadays, because it is a massive workload. But I'm in constant contact with Ms. Mills about those issues.
Right, and just to key off what Mr. Howard is saying, we're sensitive to the issue and we are working currently on a number of different measures that give us some teeth early on with regard to these rental situations. So I anticipate having some additional ordinances this year, and we're also looking at some sort of administrative resolution to some of this as well.
We have the two up for adoption tonight that should help you as well, correct me?
Correct. So there's an excessive use of municipal services ordinance that normally would just pertain to repeated calls by the police department to a property. We're expanding that to code enforcement. So if we do have one of these problem properties that we're out 5, 6, 7, 8 times, it gives us another tool to bring into municipal court and make it more costly for that property owner. Also, revocation of certificates of occupancy under certain circumstances, not unlike 5 repeated calls that are validated, repeated violations. We will have the opportunity to revoke the CO. If then there's a hearing process. If it turns out that we revoke it completely, that person won't be able to rent for a year. Will that stop them 100%? I hope, but probably not. But it gives us more summonses to write into municipal court if they continue to occupy with renters. These are the tools that we have, at the time. We're definitely expanding on them in the past year. This has added more and more rental type regulations, and there's more to come, so stay tuned. For the next issue, for Sugar Bush and the ATV usage, I think the gentleman had spoken to my code enforcement officer, John Aguirre. John had brought this to me today. I did speak to the deputy director of DPW today, just really quickly about the issue. We're going to meet again tomorrow. We agree that the area he's describing is township property. It's dedicated lands from the subdivision in the 70s. We don't condone the ATV usage. It's a massive liability for the township. We're going to put signs up. We're going to have DPW go out if there are jumps and trails, kind of smooth things out, make sure, that they know that we're looking at it. If there are complaints, nights and weekends, definitely call the police department. We'll work with them in terms of closing the loop on any enforcement. And signs probably won't do everything, but hopefully as a combined effort, we'll be able to fix that issue up. He said it's not an issue on the roadways anymore. We have a new ordinance on that as well. So hopefully with getting some attention out there and putting some signs up, maybe that'll start to solve the problem.
Man, unless I missed it, who owns that property?
Township.
Okay.
And it's not so much, meant for ATV usage, so, we're not going to expand our open space usage for that.
Could someone just talk about the Victory Road,
Yep,
the
so that's
process, and where we're at?
So I want to be clear, any change the council makes tonight does not affect an application in front of the planning board right now. There are cries here to to make this change so the warehouse application goes away. That's not how it works. In the state of New Jersey, the municipal land use law says that you have a time of application rule, not the time of decision. So the zoning is locked in once an application is made. That was made several months, maybe over a year ago. That zoning's locked in. You can zone this into futility, and that warehouse application has grandfathered rights until a decision is made or they abandon the application. So the ordinances that are in front of you tonight will not change that application in front of the planning board.
Matt, how does that affect the property that's around there also for changes in zoning?
So the changes that are in zoning, and this is another point I want to bring up, there's a specific block and lot mentioned. Residents, we hear you, but you're doing yourself a disservice by bringing this up in terms of a zoning conversation. The zoning is talking about changing the zone of an area.
Well, and I'm just going to interrupt really quick. I'm also going to note for the record that this is a subject of an active planning board application, and so it really isn't something the council should be addressing directly for fear of injecting bias into the process and giving an appealable issue. So, we're going to speak generally about stuff, but not with regard to this particular application.
Correct. So in the area, and there was a comment that the master plan doesn't support this. The master plan recommendation reads that the township should consider removing SCD zoning on Victory Road, 547, and Oakland Road. And that's what's being done. The SCD zoning is being changed to, albeit a different SCD zone. It might sound like we're playing cute with words here, but the ordinances that are in front of the governing body for this area are seeking to limit the nonconformities in the zone. There are several warehouses, there are several commercial properties, storage facilities, maintenance facilities, manufacturing facilities, even a concrete manufacturing facility on Victory Road, where if you change zoning so drastically that you create out of 20 parcels, 25% of them as non-conforming use, you have a good chance that zoning is going to get overturned. It's not the right way to plan, it's not the proper way to do it. The ordinances that are in front of the governing body will preserve certain rights for commercial uses in that area, but we are looking to lessen the intensity of some uses. Right now, the ordinance allows for full-scale warehouse distribution development, as an example, and there are no conditions. In May of 2022, governing body passed ordinances that put conditions on the amount of building coverage, buffering requirements, a lot of different conditions. Since that's happened, we've gotten no application conforming in town for large-scale warehouses. So that ordinance is doing its job in terms of reducing the size of projects and intensity. Not only does that apply to this zone, we're also trying to encourage other types of development, and flex use was brought up in the conversations, and we had a few comments about the conditions, which we'll take under advisement, but that's something that in the conditions they are specifically put in with building heights less than what would normally be needed for large-scale warehouse development. So it's to encourage commercial development, but without tractor trailers. It's to encourage smaller startup businesses. In terms of the questions that I get as a zoning officer, your electrician, your plumber, your building contractor, those types of spaces which fall under either a trade contractor business or a flex use, we don't have them in Howell. And it creates a zoning issue where any development of that nature has to go for use variance. That's the vision for this area. The vision is to try and lessen the intensity of future projects, but also not impact existing properties that have conforming uses today. Making those non-conforming makes puts a really large hardship on those property owners. And we have to consider that in planning, you should be creating nonconformities. Some specific other items that were addressed, stormwater management. The state passed a law. We have a year to implement it until next July. Again, when that ordinance takes effect, has no change, no bearing whatsoever on any applications that are in front of either of our boards. Time of application, they follow the old rules. We have been in contact with the county, who is an intermediary, and they review these ordinances from all towns. 2 towns in Monmouth County have submitted, and no one has passed it yet. We have experience with these ordinances. Our floodplain ordinance is an example. Sometimes being the first one in isn't the best way. There are revisions sometimes needed by the state. There are you have to rescind the ordinance and readdress. We have till July 2024. We're going to take our time. We're going to look, make sure there's no shortfalls, make sure we're ready to implement this. There is a cost to implementing this as well, because our professionals have to be ready to enforce this, and there are other requirements that the township has to undertake once this goes into effect. So we want to make sure we're ready.
Matt, the changing of the stormwater isn't just something we can sit down and write a line
No.
and add. It's going to require investigation, there'll be professionals involved, and there's going to be a cost to do
Correct.
it.
Correct.
It's not just,
Pre-planning and post once it's passed. There's definitely a cost. Just give me a minute to look through.
Would you also talk about the cost analysis that was suggested
So-
as to why it would not be on a checklist when an application comes in?
We'll take a look and see how that can apply. That was a good suggestion. I'm not sure under the municipal land use law if for a permitted use that is something that can be considered. If it is, then we will definitely take a look into implementing that and putting it either as a checklist item or something the board can request. It may be something that we can only do for zoning board applications. As we have unfortunately learned with the state planning guidelines, they never put those into law. So
Right.
There's all kinds of recommendations as to how to deal with projects, and we had no backing. We're left to do our zoning as we see fit.
I'll note it again, and I've said it before about the state planning guidelines. They're very helpful, and they're sort of illuminating, but it's a toothless tiger. The state won't even bother passing laws to give sort of life to these things. So, we can work with them and we can try and breathe life into them at a municipal level, but ultimately, it lacks the force of the state behind it. They're nothing more than a suggestion, and even though they're illuminating and even though they're helpful, they may not be supported. They may be in conflict with the municipal land use law, and therefore, they would fall if we were to really push hard on some of that. So it requires kind of a careful threading of a needle, so to speak. Somebody else had suggested we should be buying up properties, and I agree. We like to buy property and we like to preserve land. The problem is when you have something like, a situation where somebody owns a large parcel, you're not going to get it for the assessed value. It's what a willing buyer and a willing seller, the deal that they would strike, and that's millions of dollars in some cases. We find that out all the time. We approach people every day to talk to them about the acquisition of property, and some of the values that we're given will astonish you. The alternative, we'll just take it, eminent domain, go take it. Well, you have to get an appraisal done, and sometimes multiple appraisals, and those are typically done on a highest and best use. It's sort of incongruous because, the tax assessment may be at one level and our eminent domain appraisal will definitely be at another, and that's because when you're exercising the power of the state to take something from people, the government is trying to make sure, and the courts are trying to make sure that those people get the maximum value out of it, so we can't just go around taking from people. So, you know, there are impediments to us kind of stepping in at that level and spending our way out of issues.
It has been my experience since I've sat here that eminent domain is not an avenue that we've ever looked at, that I'm aware of, not since I've been on board, so.
Only on the very small scale if there's a right-of-way needed for safety purposes that, occur, some condition that we need to, maybe take.
A strip of property, for a roadway, but I think most people think of an eminent domain as someone is losing their whole property, their whole home, which is something that would never be considered, in my mind.
So there are a few more issues, just questions I want to respond to. Aligning the flex use standards with the noise ordinance, those are two separate issues. The noise ordinance always exists, so if there's an issue with noise, whether the ordinance says you're allowed to operate till 11 and the noise ordinance kicks in more strictly at 10 p.m., the noise ordinance is there, so it prevails. In the condition, we specifically mentioned for the flex use that tractor-trailer deliveries, if there are any, or any delivery, cannot be within that overnight period. So there is added protection there from that we said outside. So, and just to give you background, sorry, the ordinance says no outside operations are allowed to occur between 11 and 6. We included deliveries so that there's a shutdown of the site and there's not even traffic during those times. And then the comment that those ordinances do not align with the master plan and they're not benefiting residents. Again, we're not looking at this on a granular level as to who this benefits, and this is based in planning. This is based in sound zoning for the future, not creating nonconformities, looking at zoning that has, commercial zoning that has existed for decades upon decades, where there is commercial development directly surrounding this area, throughout this area, and trying not to create significant nonconformities, but not being completely deaf to some of the concerns that are being brought to us. The planning board, if these ordinances are introduced, each one will have to be considered by the planning board for consistency with the master plan. Before I read the language, it says the township should consider removing SED zone on Victory Road and Oak Glen Road and 547. It's the planning board's decision whether that's consistent with the master plan. However, that language is pretty clear that that ordinance is based in the master plan. So I just want that on the record. More comments about the vacancies on Route 9. We know. We see it every day with the old Bed Bath & Beyond property. It took Barnes & Noble forever to fill in. We're open to ideas on how to get vacancies filled. It's, whenever you talk to the property owner, guess what they want? Tax abatement. Just cut my taxes out for, a couple of years. I'll put somebody in there real quick. It doesn't exactly work that way or that easily. We don't own property on Route 9. The specific developers that are developing on the other side of town don't own property on Route 9. It's not as simple to say, don't build that there, go negotiate a sale somewhere else and do it somewhere else that may or may not need more approvals. It's just not something that we can consider, nor can we do a land swap of land we don't have. In terms of the ongoing code enforcement issues, I agree. Mr. Leggio, you are free to, I don't necessarily need to drive around with you. I appreciate the offer. Send me a list. I'm not looking for a significant amount of effort on your part. You are free to just send me a list of what you have and any evidence to support it. Illegal apartments and basements, I hear what you're saying. I have a feeling you may be connecting some dots that we don't necessarily see on code enforcement and ones that we can't connect without proof. You mentioned, what do? Send 1, 2, 3, 4 letters? The answer is no. We send one notice of violation. If we find a violation, we will send a letter. After that, within that letter, it says what your violation is, what the ordinance section is, how you fix it, and when we will be back. When we come back, if it's not fixed and we can observe the violation again, they go right to court. It's a municipal summons. I would love to be able to, after a certain point, put these on liens because Mr. Leggio is right, that is the only thing that will get somebody's attention. Lien goes on a property, you go and pay that lien. Can't do it. On code enforcement violations, we've spoken to our assemblymen and our state representatives to see if we can, find legislation that might change that, but right now it's not legal.
Yeah, and we're constantly looking at that because, Mr. Leggio is right, liens. I mean, you get a lien on your property. That's a pretty strong incentive to take care of whatever's happening on that property. So that is something that we're looking at. We're working with our attorneys on it, and so we will keep council posted in terms of what we're able to find.
And I believe I've addressed everything. If anybody has questions or concerns or more, want to talk to me, I definitely have my business card here available for anybody.
I'm sorry. Public has been closed.
I know, but I just want a point of information about...
Well, point of information doesn't come from the floor, I'm sorry. I'm happy to speak to you after the meeting. All right. I think we've covered everything. Next, I'd like to hear reports from my fellow councilmen. Councilman Nadell, do you have anything? All right. Councilman Gazier?
Yeah, I have a lot.
You're only going to get 3 minutes.
3
No, I'm
minutes?
teasing.
John, the rentals, we have some very serious things coming up to be voted on that are going to really drop the hammer on the rentals. So, and they're coming. The ATVs, where's the ATV man? I'm a retired trooper. I can't stand ATVs. You can just sit down.
I'm a little hard here.
Oh, you like me? Listen, go to Costco. They have good hearing aids.
I'm going to use your name. I'll get a little discount.
Yeah, do that. Use Ian's name. ATVs and dirt bikes. I can't stand them. We used to have a saying in the state police, who owns an ATV if they don't have property to drive it on? All right, so, and my wife is sitting right there next to you, and she'll tell you that any ATV goes up my street, he's getting a visit from me, okay? And the next one, he's going to get a summons. So, and I'll call the police and make sure he gets a summons. As far as them riding behind your house, Matt will take care of that, and we'll do it that way. The comments irked me a little bit tonight about what we promised to do and what we're doing. Do you really think that we got elected here because we want to raise your taxes, we want to build irresponsibly? Absolutely not. But understand something. Our term started last year, so we have to look at everything that was dropped in our lap, which includes a lot of things. It includes a lot of things, especially when it comes to zoning. So some of these things might sound like excuses, but they're really not. We have rules to follow, we have procedures to follow, because like Mr. Clark said, there's someone always waiting to take us to court. So if we don't follow those things, or we just get a little bit too emotional and we go off what the script we need to do, we're going to wind up in court. And it's the reason why I'm off the Victory Road application, because of those same reasons. These recommendations, and I can't speak specifically to them because we haven't even introduced them yet, actually. I can speak in generalities. These are things that we've looked at, and we've looked at what we have, what's before us, what we can change, what we think will make things better, and that's why they're there, right? And we're going to work on those. Things that are in front of us right now, we can't change. We didn't adopt the zoning that you have in this town, but what we can do is to try and adjust or make it better. And that's what we're going to do. It's not an excuse, but we have to follow the law. And we will. Otherwise, we're going to wind up in court, and everything that we've tried to do will be shot down. So I want everyone to understand that. And that's really it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. There are a couple of things, and I think that administration tried to stress this, so I can only say it one more time. when an application is in, the time that they actually put their application in is what prevails through the application. So changing something after it's in will not help that application that's already being looked at, or it's already, being gone through. So I know it's frustrating, but that's the law. And I'm not sure that everybody understood that, so I need to say it again, because it's very important that we do it by the law. Also, last Saturday, Rutgers Extension had their 4-H trunk or treat on one of our properties. I think it's called Winter Run on Southern Avenue. And it was a rain date. Unfortunately, they got rained out the day before. I was happy. I talked to a gentleman named Matt and explained to him that we're always happy to try to promote when they have something in Howell and trunk or treat and what the kids, that the kids are enjoying this. We're always happy to be a party to that and to assist in some other way if we can. I will say it was an extremely well-run day. It was the first time they've ever done this. I think they had 24-H clubs participate. Most of them were really little children. There was a lot of little pumpkins running around. It was really adorable. I had an enormous amount of activities for the children. It's a beautiful place on Southern Avenue. If anybody gets a chance to see it, you should stop in and take a peek. So that was wonderful. Our trunk or treat is coming on Thursday night, and I know that with our fireworks, we're trying to make up because we lost Howell Day because of the weather. So we're adding a little more to our trunk or treat this year, which will be bigger and better than ever. We're at Soldier Memorial under our newly installed lights. So we will have an incredible evening. The weather is supposed to be wonderful. So last year we had 5,000 people come out. We anticipate even more this year. So bring your bags for your candy, and please come and enjoy the vendors, the food trucks, and the fireworks that will be right after. Also, I would like to ask if we can get an update on the trees. I know that we paid money for the trees to be marked, and that we are taking down some trees and trimming them, but hopefully at the next meeting, if we could just get maybe some kind of a printed schematic so I have a better idea where these things took place, because when you're riding around, it's impossible to know if something's been, was it taken down by a storm? Was it removed because it was dangerous? So I'd just like to get a better handle on that. And lastly, something that's still important, and I know I've talked to administration about this, is trying to do something for veteran homes. And I know administration said that they're looking into other things, trying to find property that's going to be suitable. So I just want people to understand this is something that is important to us as well as to those veterans that need homes.
Yeah.
And to remind you that Veterans Day is around the corner. And of course, our local veterans, the Commander Frank Longo always does a program, a ceremony, which is very touching, and that will be on Facebook soon, I'm sure. They do a lovely program. I'm always touched when people come out and pay respects to those people that laid down their lives so that we can have ours and our freedom. So please don't forget that day.
So just to interrupt very quickly, Deputy Mayor, we actually have an extemporaneous update for you on the veterans housing. So I'll let Mr. Howard
Thank you.
take it from here.
So one of our resolutions tonight is to award professional service contract for a subdivision on Ford Road. So this was properties we obtained through a court settlement a couple years ago. Right now, there are 4 single-family residences, a lot of non-conforming things going on in the back that we're going to fix, and a daycare. We're looking to explore the opportunity to subdivide these properties. Right now, they have many acres that go, they're very thin lots that go very far back to the Matitaconk, not very usable towards the back for the residents. So we're exploring the opportunity to subdivide these properties into usable, reasonable sized acreage. That'll leave a significant portion in the middle before you get to the regulated areas in the back by the Matitaconk. We might partner with the county on some of their greenway work in the back. But what this is going to do is leave us a nice chunk of land to potentially look into veterans housing as part of our next affordable housing round, and to look at some concept designs and maybe start talking to some people to see if we could do RFPs for somebody interested in development. We'd also, for the existing single-family residences, going to explore a sale under some type of restriction for veterans housing as well. So that's, I know, been a topic that this governing body has really hammered home for a while, and we're going to try and take some steps to see if we can make it happen.
That's excellent news, and I'm so happy that it came out publicly at the meeting. And again, Director Arnone, who has told me in the past, he's very happy to work with us and for whatever information we may need to help further our project. So,
Perfect.
thank you.
We'll get in touch with them. Yeah, veterans, we cannot do enough.
Yeah,
So
thank
we're
you.
we're looking to get that done ASAP. So we'll keep everybody updated.
I appreciate that. The veterans appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, so moving along to our resolutions, could we get a motion to adopt or to pass 2334 through and including R23-366?
I'd like to make some motion to adopt resolutions R23-341 through R23-367.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. The consent resolutions pass.
And we are tabling 367. Okay, so moving on to our ordinances.
So just very quickly for the record, Deputy Mayor, I'm going to note, there's no substantive reason that we're tabling it. It's a specific type of resolution that requires a supermajority of council, and we have only a 3-person quorum. It needs 4 votes, we only have 3. So it'll be put back on when we have a full council.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, under unfinished business, we have ordinance 2333.
Amending and supplementing Chapter 136 of the Township Code entitled Excessive Consumption of Municipal Services.
Thank you. I'd like to open this up to the public. Anyone wishing to comment on this ordinance, please come forward. Seeing none, motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a vote? Motion?
Motion to adopt O2333.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 2334.
Amending and supplementing Chapter 178 of the Township Code entitled Housing Code Rental Property.
Thank you. I'd like to open this ordinance to the public. Anyone wishing to speak to this ordinance, please come forward. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt O23-34.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Next is ordinance 2335.
Introduction of ordinances. An ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, adding new Section 188-77.1 entitled Highway Development 1 South HD 1S Zone.
Thank you. I'd like to open this ordinance to the public. Anyone wishing
No,
to...
excuse me, it's an introduction.
I'm sorry. Wrong page.
Motion to introduce
Thank you.
O2335.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
Thank you. May I have a motion to introduce 02336?
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 10 zoning, amending 188-65 entitled Enumeration of Districts.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to introduce O23-36.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
The ordinance is properly introduced.
Thank you. Introduction of ordinance 2337.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain properties within the Township of Howell to zoning designation Highway Development 1S HD 1S Zone.
Thank you. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce O2337.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
Thank you. Next ordinance to introduce is ordinance 2338.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain properties within the Township of Howell to zoning designation Special Economic Development 1, SCD 1 zone.
Thank you. May you have a motion to introduce?
Yeah.
Motion to introduce O2338.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
The ordinance is properly introduced.
Next ordinance is ordinance 2339.
An ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use, Article 1, Title, Purpose, Definitions, Section 4, entitled Definitions and Rules of General Applicability of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
Motion to introduce O-23-39.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
The ordinance is properly introduced.
Next motion to introduce is ordinance 2340.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 11, Conditional Uses, adding Section 188-98.11 entitled Flex Space.
I have a motion, please?
Motion to introduce O2340.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
The ordinance is properly introduced.
Next ordinance to introduce is ordinance 2341.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, supplementing and modifying Sections 188-79.1, SED 1 zone, and 188-79.2, SED 2 zone to include flex space as a conditional use.
Motion to introduce O-23-41.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
Next ordinance to introduce is 02342.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell updating Schedule 2 bulk and dimensional requirements for non-residential zones to include Highway Development 1 South HD-1S zone.
May I have a motion, please?
O2342.
Second.
Councilman Gager?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
Thank you. Okay. Our next scheduled meeting, well, actually,
We are working
Mr.
on
Manager,
that.
would you, yeah.
We will post it. So right now, because the League of Municipalities falls on the 14th, we are likely to be moving our meeting to the 21st. But that also happens to be Thanksgiving week, so we may end up on the 28th. So at some point in November, whether it's the 21st or the 28th, we will have the meeting to adopt all of these ordinances then.
And that will come as quickly as possible,
We
correct?
will poll the remainder of council ASAP, and we will get the information out there to the public, because I'm sure we're going to want people coming for the public hearings, so.
Thank you. And again, don't forget, folks, Thursday is trunk or treat, everyone's invited, and we hope you come out and you're safe and you have a good time.
Great event.
May I have a motion to close the meeting?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.